So today we're talking planning, and I'm going to walk you through the checklist that I've created that gives me my whole plan for the summer. It walks me through everything I need to prep, everything I need to organize in order to get ready for the new school year. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. So today's video is going to be part of a collaboration on planning, homeschool planning. People may be planning their school years, planning their summers, just planning in general. And it is hosted by Davene at Common to Chaos and Shauna at Homegrown Homeschool. So I'm going to go ahead and link both of their channels below in the description. And I'm also going to put the playlist link in the description as well. So after you watch this video, don't forget to go down there and check that playlist so that you can see other people's methods for planning and what they plan out. Also, if you like this kind of content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below. All of that really helps me as I build this channel up. So if you enjoy this, that helps me out. Okay, so this checklist, it basically walks me through everything that I need to prep for the new school year during my summer break. The order I'm going to run through this is not necessarily the order in which I do them. It's going to be different order every year because sometimes I just do what I feel like doing that day. And sometimes I do everything that kind of bunches together. But I'm going to try to walk you through it and hopefully this is useful. If I show you something or I talk about something, some of my checklists or spreadsheets that I use or prep or create over the summer, and you want to know a little more detail about them or want to know kind of what that involves or what it looks like, please comment below and I'm happy to make videos on any of this that you want a little more information on. This is just a real broad overview of everything I consider my prep work for the summer, and having a checklist that lays it out for me to print off in the beginning of summer and slowly check off as I get everything ready really helps just take out the question mark in my mind of, am I ready? It's just this little extra planning step of writing a list makes a world of difference. So I'm going to walk you through my list. Maybe it'll help you think about if you've missed anything on your list or these are items that you'd like to add to your summer prepare. Okay, so in no particular order, first thing is I go through my records bin, which is where I put all the paperwork that I've saved over the homeschool year, and I sort through it and keep just a few from each subject per grade per child. So I just take each folder that I've been collecting and I just go through it, pick out what I want to keep, staple it together, put the name of the curriculum and the year, the name of my child, put it back in and throw away the rest. So that's number one. I also add labels to the next year's folder with my daughter's name and age for the following year. I haven't laid them all out in advance and pre-written them. I could, but I just each year I'm going to add another label for the following year's curriculum. So that's how I'm going to do that. I also like to plan out the chores that I want my kids to do for the following year in the morning. So I'm creating a chore list now. I'm kind of in the works. This is the one I'm doing currently. But my daughters are only going to be 4 and 5 this year. So there's not a ton. They're going to brush their teeth, make their bed, get dressed, those are easy things. And then I'm also going to have one of them help me empty part of the dishwasher. I'm going to have one of them help me dust some things in the house. It's okay if it's not perfect. These are habits that I want them to start creating. I'm going to have one of them walk around and fill toilet papers in the bathrooms, and the other one take a quick sweep to under the kitchen table with their little toy broom set, and they can do that. So just kind of thinking through what some little things that can start building in those habits of help around the house and building in those good habits that I want them to have, and things that can be potentially helpful for me. So thinking through what's realistic for them and what needs to be done or what's actually useful. So that's what I'm doing currently, trying to create and then creating that chore chart. Another one that I do at the beginning of end of every school year, beginning of the new one, is I go through what I call my screenshots, bookmarks, homeschool saves. So during the year when I see a YouTuber that has something that I like, I save that in a playlist on YouTube. Homeschool saves for later. When I'm on my phone scrolling and I see something that I want to check out later, I see something that interests me, I screenshot it. When I'm online and I find a website or somebody recommends something that I'm interested in, I bookmark it into my, homeschool for later bookmark. By the end of a year, I have a lot of stuff in those folders, and some of them are things that I've thought about this year. Some are things that I've thought about for high school, like, oh, that's cool. So I just need to glance through all that folder of screenshots that I have. I need to glance through all those bookmarks and just really quickly go through and see, was anything applicable to this coming year that I wanted to look into further, or anything that I decided I wanted to use and I forgot about. So just that I don't lose those ideas and they don't just kind of create this giant pile of stuff that never does anything. And then I delete things as I go through them. If I'm not really interested anymore, I try to delete them so I don't just have unending lists. So that's another thing I do. And then I prep my teacher binders planner. So I do not buy a planner, a pre-made planner. I am making my own planner. I'm using one of those Flex notebooks, and I am printing out my own spreadsheets that I've created my planned lists with. So into that, I create a course of study for my students with the subject and how much it costs. So I have a whole spreadsheet on their budget and their course of study. I print any digital curriculum, teacher guides that I need pieces of, or just resources for curriculum, and I try to put that in there. I create a year's schedule, a calendar year that's laid out on one page, and I create a subjects schedule for the year, as well as a faux or a suggested daily schedule or flow for our day. Those 3 things I create and I put in there, and I have videos on how I create each of those things. I'll link them below if you want to see a little bit more into those planning things. I also create student checklists, and instead of me writing in for each day what we want to do, I'm using those student checklists to put the information for the week of what wants to be done. And each week I'll fill those out. So I create those checklists. I have some grade assessments that I print out, and I want to complete those. So in the beginning of each school year, I print out an assessment for the grade that they're going into, and I will highlight everything that they can already do, everything they already know in that assessment. And then at the end of the school year, I highlight in a different color everything that they can do at the end of the year. And it just, if not so that my child has to hit every achievement or assessment goal on there, that's not what it is, but it really helps me see what they learned over the course of the year. If I print out a basic skills list for first grade, what should my child know after first grade? And I can see that these are the things they knew before, and then at the end of the year, they knew all of these other things. It really helps me see what I've done, and helps me keep a good track of them. So I need to print out new ones of those and complete the old ones. If I have homeschool goals that I've written out for the year, I need to assess those, see how we've done, see if we need to change something, make new goals for the year. So I would have a goals list in that teacher planner. And then with our read alouds, if I want to have any discussions around our read alouds, I want to look up, I have a list of like Socratic questions that comes from like Teaching the Classics. I think it's IEW, and it's from K through 12. It's got a list of questions that get easy to hard, and I want to go through those and pick out any questions or think about questions that I might want to ask around our read alouds with our daughters. So that would be my teacher binder. And then in my student binders, I need to prep those as well. And one of the things I have to do to prep those is I tear apart all of our workbooks, because I only put about a week's worth of work into each subject in my student's binder, and I refill it each week or two. So I tear apart all of those workbooks, I hole punch them in advance, and I put them into a binder so that when it's time to do it, I don't have to hole punch, tear all these pages. I can just go into the binder, flip, 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 take those pages out and add it. It makes it super easy. So I do that. I also want to print and laminate Blackline Masters for their math program. The math we use have some in the back that you can copy, and then they recommend, you know, laminating them so they're a little thicker and more durable and can use like a erase marker if you need to. So I do that as well for my homeschool student books, and then I fill out with the first week of work for each subject. So I just get that prepped. Let me get some coffee. Okay, another thing, which this one is fairly obvious, but I buy curriculum and books for the year that I have not already purchased. Now, the amount of curriculum and books that I have to purchase at the beginning of the school year is pretty minimal, because I am budget shopping and used deal shopping the whole year. I have a list of all the stuff that I know for sure I want to use in the coming year, and I look for deals throughout the year. I do homeschool curriculum sales. And in fact, I think I just put out a haul video of the last curriculum sale I did this last week. So you should check that out. I'll put that below if you want. But anything that I haven't found a good deal on, that I haven't already gotten used or found other ways, I'll order those as well. And then I update my curriculum cost spreadsheet, because I really like to keep tabs of how much I'm spending on our homeschool. So when I plan my year, I put in the guest cost, you know, what it's being listed at on the website, so that I know kind of what it's going to cost me. But then when I buy it, especially if I can buy it used for a sale, I'll actually put in the price I paid, so that at the end of that year, when I've bought everything, I really have a realistic idea of what I've paid versus what I thought I was going to pay. So that helps out. I also reset my homeschool cart, and I just did a video on this as well, so check that out below if you want. But I go through and I take out all of the stuff, and I mean all of the stuff, and I set it back up for the new year, how we need it now versus how we needed last year. Along with that, one of the things I do is I take out my math manipulatives little box, and I go through that and get rid of anything that's not pertinent to this coming school year and add anything that I need. So the homeschool cart and math manipulative box kind of go together in my mind when I prep. I also go into my teacher's manuals. And this I will probably do closer to the beginning of the school year versus like the end of the old school year, just because you want to kind of freshen your mind. But I go through, and even though I've read them before or looked through them at least, I want to go through and glance through all of the how this book works, or introductions, or what you're supposed to do in the beginning of all the teacher's manuals. Almost every teacher's manual has that section of, how to use this book. And I want to go through and just refresh myself on each one of, is there anything I'm missing that I need to be thinking about in advance before going into it? Just to remind myself of the purpose and the method of all these books. I know them all because I've researched them, I've looked at them, we've used some of them, but it's really good to refresh yourself. So that's on my list. I have it on my list to go into every teacher's manual and just glance through and see if there's anything I've forgotten in those beginnings and refresh myself with how the books are going to be used. Okay, so last one on here, and I also have a video talking about my thoughts on this, but on this for this year at least, I think about co-ops and decide if we're going to join a co-op or not, because that's something that I want to do towards the end of the school year so that you have time to kind of get ready and think about how you're going to incorporate it into your new schedule for the new school year. And like I said, I have a video talking about my whole thoughts on whether or not we're going to do a co-op this year. That's, for another day. You can look at it again. I'll link all these videos below. But if you're interested, this is the time to think about it. This is the time to do the work, get signed up, get, all your ducks in a row for that. Okay, so that is my list of all the things that I try to think about what I need to do for the new homeschool year. So again, this isn't less of a prepping video with you doing it with me and more of like me just telling you my thoughts as I make a list to plan out what needs to be done. Having a plan helps so much that you just don't feel scattered at the end of your summer break and be like, did I do everything? What do I have left? And then feeling like you missed all these pieces and are last minute scrambling to get them done. Having a list that I can just check off slowly over the course of the year is wonderful. It's just made it so that I get things done in advance and I don't have that pressure and I really know how much I have left to do. So I have a good judgment of what's coming and what I've already accomplished. So I hope that's helpful for you. Again, please don't forget there is a playlist link below for you to see how all these other homeschool moms use planning in their homeschool and how they plan. So check that out to get some more ideas. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.